Good evening, everyone. Now, in class 10 biology, there is another important unit that is plant physiology. So, we have to start this unit that is plant physiology. What does the plant physiology mean? Physiology here, vital functions. Physiology, you will study the plant physiology, and later on, you will come to know about the human physiology. That is a plant physiology, so vital functions of plants. In this plant physiology, you will come across so many important phenomena: diffusion, osmosis, active transport, photosynthesis, transpiration. You have the chapter transpiration, you have the chapter on photosynthesis. So you will study one by one. Plant physiology. Physiology means vital functions. Now, when we talk about the plant physiology, it means the vital functions of plants. It is an important phenomenon. All right, let's talk about one by one. The important phenomena here, what you have to study here is diffusion. Now, what is diffusion? When you put a perfume on one corner of the room, it reaches to another corner of the room. So what is actually happening there? Diffusion, it is a process in which movement or molecules or ions of any substance. Again, I'm repeating diffusion. It is a process in which molecules, diffusion, it is a process in which molecules or ions of any substance. Diffusion, it is a process in which molecules or ions of any substance move from the region of higher concentration to the region of lower concentration. It is a very important phenomena. Diffusion. It is a process in which molecules or ions of any substance move from the region of higher concentration to the region of lower concentration. That is diffusion. All right. Now, a simple example, if I'm taking it here, suppose in a beaker, here we are adding concentration of ions are here or molecules, and in another there is a concentration of molecules or ions are here. All right. Now, diffusion will take place from the region of higher concentration to the region of lower concentration. It's very important. What is here? Molecules of higher concentration to the molecules of lower concentration. A simple example. KMNO4 you are adding in the water. What will happen to the KMNO4? Pink color, purple color. It will dissolve. But where you put that in the beaker KMNO4, from that area KMNO4, where you put that KMNO4, there will be the more concentration. And from that higher concentration, these KMNO4 molecules or ions move from the region of lower concentration. So this is very important. Here, molecule or ions of any substances will move from the region of higher concentration to the region of lower concentration. Let's talk about the features of diffusion. Diffusion takes place in all the three states of matter: solid, liquid, and gases. So one by one, we will see what the features of diffusion. Features of diffusion. Number one, it is a molecular movement. Number one, it is a molecular movement. What does it mean? Which means it is a molecular movement. The molecules move and the substances do not move in bulk. Diffusion, it is a molecular movement in which molecule molecules move, not the substances in the bulk. Number two, first, it is a molecular movement in which the molecules or ions of the substances move, but not the substances in bulk. That is very important. Number two, diffusion occurs in solid, liquid, and gases. So the diffusion occurs in solid, liquids, and gases. So the diffusing molecules will be solid, liquid, as well as gases. Third important feature, it occurs from the region of diffusion. It occurs from the region of higher concentration to the region of lower concentration. Point number four. First, it is a molecular movement in which the molecules will move but not the substances in bulk. Second thing, diffusion takes place in solid, liquid, and gases, which means diffusion molecules may be solid, liquid, and gases. Third, it occurs from the region of higher concentration to the region of lower concentration. Point number four. It does not require any medium. Does not require any medium. So the diffusion does not require any medium. If the medium is present, then what will happen to the diffusion? It does not require any medium. Diffusion does not require any medium, but if the medium is present, then the rate of diffusion will be lowered. Rate of diffusion will be lowered. So this is the fourth point. It does not require any medium. If the medium is present, then the rate of diffusion will be lowered. Last point for the features of diffusion. It does not require membrane. It does not require membrane. If the membrane is present and it permits, means the membrane permitting the molecules or ions of any substance, then the diffusion will continue. So this is the important features of diffusion that you have to remember. Now, what important role does the diffusion have since you have to study the plant physiology? What role does the diffusion takes place in plants? The next heading we have significance of diffusion. What significance we have with diffusion? Significance. So the significance of diffusion. Number one, plant. Yes, of course, the plant absorbs the mineral salts. All right, they are absorbing from the soil. So the plant absorbs mineral salts, molecules or ions from the soil by the root by diffusion. Plants here absorbs mineral salts Significance of diffusion. Plants absorbs mineral salts, molecules or ions from the soil by root by diffusion. Second, once these mineral salts are absorbed, it has to be supplied to the whole of the plant body. Each and every cell needs these minerals, molecules, or ions for their proper growth, development. Second significance, distribution of minerals. Distribution of minerals, salts from cell to cell in the entire plant body by diffusion. So the distribution of mineral salts from cell to cell in the entire plant body takes place by diffusion. Then diffusion helps in photosynthesis. Diffusion helps in respiration. Diffusion helps in transpiration. Diffusion helps in pollination. Now the question arises, how? How the diffusion helps in photosynthesis? How helps in respiration, transpiration, pollination? I have already uh, talked about the pollination, cross pollination, that is transfer of pollen grains from the anther to the stigma of a flower, which requires a pollinating agent, right? Like wind, insect, water. So how pollination, how diffusion helps pollination? How diffusion helps photosynthesis? What is the raw material for photosynthesis? Mostly carbon dioxide. And this will release oxygen. So plants take carbon dioxide and gives out oxygen in photosynthesis. So plants, how diffusion helps? Here, stomata is present on the surface of the leaf. The plant will take this carbon dioxide from where? Atmosphere. So in photosynthesis, you can write plants take in carbon dioxide and give out oxygen by diffusion. Plants take in carbon dioxide and give out oxygen by diffusion. So it helps in photosynthesis. Plants also respire like we respire, respiration. So here, plants take in oxygen and gives out carbon dioxide by diffusion. So plant helps in respiration. Transpiration, loss of water as water vapor. It is very key that you have to write loss of water as water vapor in transpiration. The loss of water as water vapor through stomata, loss of water as water vapor through stomata by diffusion, thus transpiration will takes place. So diffusion is important in transpiration also. Respiration, photosynthesis, everywhere diffusion is important. Now how pollination? To write it in pollination, insect pollinated flowers produce aroma. Aroma. In Hindi we call it out khushbu. They produce aroma or aromatic substance which diffuses in the air. How insect will go? Pollination. Insect pollinated flowers produces aroma or aromatic substance which diffuses. See diffusion here, which diffuses in the air, which diffuses in the air and perceived perceived by the sense organ of insects. So insect pollinated flowers produce aromatic substances that diffuses in the air and perceived by the sense organs of insects, and then insects are attracted towards flower for pollination. So in this way, diffusion helps in pollination. These are the important significance which you have to remember. All right, regarding the diffusion process. Now, another important phenomena that will be coming is osmosis. We talk a lot about osmosis because osmosis is very important phenomena. Osmosis. Taking two beakers, A and B. Suppose here I have added 100 gram of oil. So why not here also I am adding the 100 gram of water. You add a salt here, 10 gram. You are adding the salt here, 20 gram salt. I've already taught you regarding the acid, bases, and salt, dilute and concentrated solution. Now, dilute and concentrated solution depends upon the quantity of the water. So here 10 gram salt in 100 gram, here 20 gram salt in 100 gram of water. So which will be the dilute solution? More amount of water here as compared to solute. So this will become dilute solution. I will tell you the osmosis definition. Four definition of osmosis here. This will become the dilute solution. To say this will become what? Concentrated solution. Right? Now, dilute solution, or you say this is a weaker solution. So concentrated solution, or you say stronger solution. Whenever solute is less and more amount of water, that solution we call it out as hypotonic solution. In whole chapter, after clearing this definition, we always talk about hypotonic and hypertonic solution. So dilute solution is hypotonic solution. And concentrated solution or stronger solution is hypertonic solution. Again, I'm focusing, I'm telling you. What will the movement of water molecule here? A to B or B to A? Yes. It will be from B to A. Because osmosis, it is a process in which water molecules will move from the region of higher concentration. Here the water molecules are more. You say, sir, 100 gram, 100 gram. No, in compared to salt, this is dilute weaker. So here the water molecules is more. Osmosis, number one definition. It is a process in which water molecules move from the region of higher concentration to the region of lower concentration through important thing through semi-permeable membrane. First definition, osmosis. It is a process in which water molecules move from the region of higher concentration to the region of lower concentration through semi-permeable membrane. Second definition, water molecules move from dilute solution to concentrated solution through semi-permeable membrane. Third definition, water molecules move from weaker solution to stronger solution through semi-permeable membrane. Fourth definition, water molecules move from the region of hypotonic solution to hypertonic solution through semi-permeable membrane. In most of the chapter when we study osmosis, plasmolysis, deplasmolysis, active transport, we talk about hypo and hypertonic solution. So osmosis, always remember, it is a process in which water molecules move from hypotonic to hypertonic solution. One more important key point, always remember, pure water, that is a distilled water, is hypotonic solution. Because a question which asked in the board based on these hypo and hypertonic solution. So this is regarding the osmosis. All right, clear? I hope very much clear. Now first talk about the isotonic, hypotonic and hypertonic solution. Then the types of membrane. We have four types of membrane. Freely permeable membrane, semi-permeable membrane, selectively semi-permeable membrane, and the fourth one, impermeable membrane. First, we talk about that. Then the active transport. Then the difference between the active and the passive transport. All right. I hope this much clear. Now, next heading you have kind of solution or the types of solution with respect to cell sap. Kinds of solution or the types of solution with respect to cell sap. Now, with respect to cell sap, because why I'm talking about with respect to cell sap, plant is absorbing water from the soil with the help of root hair, and the root is having the vacuole, and vacuole is having the cell sap. So three types of solution with respect to cell sap. Number one, hypotonic solution. Three types of solution with respect to cell sap. Heading, three types of solution with respect to cell sap. Number one, hypotonic solution. Number two, hypertonic solution. And the third one we have isotonic solution. Three types of solution you have: hypotonic, hypertonic, and isotonic solution. All right, write it there. What is kinds of solution with respect to cell sap? Number one, hypotonic solution. It is that solution whose concentration is lesser, whose concentration is lesser than the concentration of cell sap. Hypotonic solution is that solution whose concentration is lesser than the concentration of cell sap. Hypertonic solution is that solution whose concentration is greater than the concentration of cell sap. An isotonic solution is that solution whose concentration is equal to the concentration of cell sap. So we talk about three types of solution with respect to cell sap. Hypotonic solution is that solution whose concentration is lesser as compared to the concentration of cell sap. Here greater than the concentration of cell sap. Here equal to the concentration of cell sap. So three types of solution we have here. Next heading, kinds of membrane on the basis of permeability. Kinds of membrane on the basis of permeability. So we talk about the four kinds of membrane on the basis of permeability, kinds of membrane on the basis of kinds of membrane on the basis of permeability. Permeability. This is very important before you go for the plasmolysis, because this membrane they ask you, because we have the in the board objective type questions there, and they ask you cellophane, parchment paper, copper, ferric cyanide, goat's urinary bladder, what type of membrane they are. So you have to study all the four types of membrane. So on the basis of permeability, we have four kinds of membrane. One by one, we have to see. The first membrane we have freely permeable membranes. Freely. The word freely permeable membrane. Second, we have semi-permeable membrane. And third, we have selectively semi-permeable membrane, which is also known as differentially permeable membrane. And the fourth one we have impermeable membrane. Just one definition I will tell you. You will write all the four definitions. Impermeable membrane. Here I am for a membrane. Freely permeable membrane. Semi-permeable membrane. Selectively semi-permeable or differentially permeable membrane. Last one, impermeable membrane. Got it? I will tell you just one definition and you will write all the definitions by yourself. Let's see. Freely permeable membrane is that membrane which permeates. Freely permeable membrane is that membrane which permeates all the substances. It is that membrane which permeates all the substances in and out of the cell. It's So we have to talk about kinds of membrane on the basis of permeability. So there are four kinds of membranes on the basis of permeability: freely permeable membrane, semi-permeable membrane, selectively semi-permeable membrane, or differentially permeable membrane. And the last one we have impermeable membrane. So there are four types of membrane on the basis of permeability. All right, the first one. I will tell you just one definition, and you will by yourself you can learn and write all the four definitions. Let's see how. Freely permeable membrane. It is that membrane which permeates all the substances in and out of the cell. or across the cell. It's your choice whether you write in and out of the cell or across the cell. To say a freely permeable membrane is that membrane which permeates molecule or ions of all the substances in and out of the cell. Example of this freely permeable membrane, we have the cell wall. Got it clear? Then we have the semi-permeable membrane. It is that membrane in which permeates water molecules in and out of the cell. So semi-permeable membrane is that membrane which permeates water molecules in and out of the cell or across the cell. Now in your board exam, you have the MCQ questions and they definitely ask you this question. Examples of semi-permeable membrane. So I'm telling you some of the examples of semi-permeable membrane here. Collodion membrane, copper ferrocyanide membrane, parchment paper, goat's urinary bladder. Goat's urinary bladder. All these are the examples of semi-permeable membrane. Goat's urinary bladder. BLADDER. Parchment paper, collodion, copper ferrocyanide. All these comes under semi-permeable membrane. All right. So freely permeable membrane is that membrane which permeates molecules or ions of all the substances in and out of the cell. Example, cell wall. Semi-permeable membrane is that membrane which permeates water molecules in and out of the cell. Examples, so much you have. Collodion, membrane, copper ferrocyanide, parchment paper, goat's urinary bladder. Selectively semi-permeable membrane or differentially permeable membrane is that membrane which permeate molecule or ions of certain selective substances in and out of the cell. Example, you write the example, cell membrane or plasma membrane. All the membranes which are made up of lipoprotein, lipid, that is fat. Membranes which are made up of lipoprotein, they all are belong to this category, selectively semi-permeable membrane. Cell membrane or the plasma membrane. Membrane around the vacuole, that is tonoplast. Membrane around the mitochondria. Endoplasmic reticulum. All right. All these membrane around nucleus, nuclear membrane. All these comes under selectively semi-permeable membrane. And the last one we have impermeable membrane. In the bottle, if you put the cork cap, what will happen? No substances will in or out. That is impermeable membrane. It is that membrane which does not allows any substances in and out of the cell. Example of the impermeable membrane we have studied in class 9. Cell wall of cork cell. Cork cell is an example of impermeable membrane. I hope you understand all these types of membrane, kinds of membrane on the basis of permeability, kinds of solution with respect to cell sap, hypotonic, hypertonic, isotonic. I hope you have learned the full definition of osmosis. To remember, osmosis, water molecules move. All right. Diffusion, molecule or ions of any substance move. Osmosis takes place through semi-permeable membrane. Diffusion does not require any membrane. However, if the membrane is present and that membrane permeates, then the diffusion will take place. So this is the important differences between diffusion and osmosis. Now, one more terminology which is very, very important. I have told you, and in the board they have asked you their location. where this phenomena takes place. That is now active transport. Another important phenomena. Active transport versus passive transport. So, anyone ask you what is passive transport? I've already taught you passive transport. How? I've taught you diffusion. Diffusion, another name. Passive transport means diffusion. All right. So, passive transport or diffusion is the same thing. So, we have to study here the active transport. Let's see what is active transport. Now, I'm making here the root hairs because this is the soil level where the water, minerals all available here. Soil, availability of water, minerals, mineral salts. All right. I'm making the leaf here because here the leaf is very important to understand this phenomena. Active transport. I've already cleared the osmosis. Now we will talk osmosis with respect to hypotonic and hypertonic solution. Osmosis, water molecule move from hypotonic to hypertonic solution through semi-permeable membrane. That is clear. Now, its root here mean, telling you in this root here, we have the vacuole, and in the vacuole we have the cell sap. ठीक क्लियर है इस सॉइल में वाटर मिनरल और वाटर अवेलेबल है रूट्स में हमारे पास सेल सैप है वैक्यूल है सेल सैप है और सेल सैप में शुगरी या सॉल्ट सोल्यूशन होता है तो दो सोल्यूशन मिल गए एक तो सॉइल में है वाटर मिनरल सॉल्ट्स दिस विल बी द हाइपोटोनिक सोल्यूशन और जो ये सेल सैप ये रूट में ये सेल सैप है यहाँ पे सोल्यूशन कैसा होगा हाइपरटोनिक क्लियर है तो वाटर मिनरल सॉल्ट व्हेन इट इज हाइपोटोनिक सॉल्यूशन osmosis will take place so water of the soil will move from the soil into the root here hypo to hyper हुआ osmosis now water of the soil will come here now this cell will be high this cell will be now water will come here more water this is now become hypo this is hyper hypo hyper hypo hyper in this way जिसके नीचे वाली सेल में जहां पानी पहुंच गया वाटर वो क्या बन गया हाइपो बन गया इसके ऊपर वाला हाइपर अब यहाँ पानी पहुंच गया ये हाइपर हाइपो हाइपर हाइपो हाइपर हाइपो हाइपर से पूरी जगह प्लांट पे पानी पहुंच गया टुवर्ड्स द लीफ लीफ में तो एक टाइनी सा पोर्स होता है ऑन द सरफेस ऑफ द लीफ मोर ऑन द लोअर सरफेस less on the upper surface that we call it out stomata. You have to understand this phenomena. This is very important. Active transport. So how the water from the soil reaches to the root, then root say next adjacent cell, the next adjacent cell, hypo, hyper, hypo, hyper, and it reaches towards the leaf. Clear? Now, In the daytime, when the sunlight comes out, in the presence of sunlight, stomata opens. Stomata opens, so transpiration will take place from stomata. So this hypo-hyper will continue. Clear? This hypo-hyper will continue because स्टोमेटा से लॉस ऑफ वाटर हो रहा है, तो यहाँ पे पानी इकट्ठा नहीं हो पाएगा, तो ये हाइपो ही बना रहेगा और यहाँ से लॉस हो जाएगा, तो हाइपो हाइपर होगा. ठीक है. डे टाइम में ऑब्वियसली इन द डे टाइम इट विल टेक प्लेस लाइक दिस ओनली. शाम हो गई, सनलाइट क्लोजेस. सनलाइट कहाँ है? चंदा मामा वेलकम. राइट. सनलाइट गॉन, टोमेटो क्लोजेस, बट वाटर विल कंटिन्यू. हाइपो टू हाइपर. जब यहां से वाटर लॉस नहीं हो रहा है तो अ टाइम विल कम. जो पानी हाइपो से हाइपर जा रहा था, यहाँ पानी इकट्ठा हो जाएगा. अब ये क्या बचेगा? ये हाइपो हो जाएगा कुछ देर बाद ड्यूरिंग द नाइट. अगर हाइपो ये हो गया एज कंपेयर टू सॉइल सोल्यूशन जो कि हाइपर हो गया, कब? शाम को, इन द इवनिंग. देन व्हाट विल हैपन? क्या होगा? रूट का सारा पानी सॉइल में चला आएगा. तो सुबह सुबह व्हेन यू कम अक्रॉस, तो पता चला सारे के सारे ट्रीज रोड पे ऐसे पड़े हो. ऑब्वियसली जब सारा पानी निकल जाएगा तो क्या होगा? प्लांट गिर जाएगा. सुबह सुबह देखोगे रे सारे प्लांट गिरे हो. ऐसा होता तो है नहीं. तो व्हाट इज दैट फिनोमेनन? ऑस्मोसिस, यानी मूवमेंट जो वाटर मॉलिक्यूल का होता है वो हाइपो से हाइपर होता है. ठीक है. तो शाम को जब ये हाइपो बन गया, तो यानी इसका पानी सॉइल में आना चाहिए, क्योंकि हो नहीं रहा है. तो हमें एक टर्मिनोलॉजी मिलती है एक्टिव ट्रांसपोर्ट की, जो कि हाइपो से हाइपर नहीं हो रहा है, हाइपर से हाइपो हो रहा है. मीन्स ये एक्टिव ट्रांसपोर्ट, क्योंकि प्लांट भी रेस्पायर करेगा तो रेस्पिरेशन से एनर्जी मिलेगी इन द फॉर्म ऑफ एटीपी. उस मेटाबॉलिक एनर्जी को यूज करके अगेंस्ट द कंसेंट्रेशन ग्रेडियंट, यानी हायर फ्रॉम द रीजन ऑफ हायर टू लोअर होना चाहिए, लेकिन रीजन ऑफ लोअर टू हायर जाएगा अपनी एनर्जी, मेटाबॉलिक एनर्जी को यूज करके. दैट वी कॉल एक्टिव ट्रांसपोर्ट. क्लियर है? राइट इट active transport. Now, active transport, it is a process in which molecule or ions of any substance move from the region of lower concentration. उल्टा हो गया. Or active transport, it is a process in which molecules or ions of any substance move from the region of lower concentration to the region of higher concentration. यहाँ पे you will get 0 if you are not writing with the involvement of or you say it is a process in which molecule or ions of any substances move from the region of lower concentration to the region of higher concentration involving expenditure of metabolic energy. Bracket में ATP, involving the expenditure of metabolic energy in the bracket ATP. So this is the active transport against the concentration gradient. All right, it is a process in which molecule or ions of any substance move from the region of lower concentration to the region of higher concentration involving the expenditure of metabolic energy. Bracket में ATP. Now they ask you where this active transport takes place. To write another line, active transport takes place in routes and underline the word routes. Active transport takes place in routes. Right there. Root respires and produce metabolic energy. This metabolic energy is available to mineral molecules. This metabolic energy is available to mineral molecules of the soil, and mineral molecules of the soil move into the root cell and they are absorbed by the root. This you have to write. Next, write significance of active transport. The significance of active transport: plant absorbs mineral salts. Plant absorbs mineral salts or mineral molecules or ions from the soil by the root by active transport. Plant absorb mineral salts or mineral molecules or ions from the soil by the root by active transport. All right, this much you have to study in this chapter, a particular topic regarding diffusion, osmosis, active transport, kinds of solution, and the kinds of membrane. So in the next turn, we will talk about a lot regarding the osmosis in the plant cell, what will happen when you put osmosis in the plant cell, Tauger pressure, osmotic pressure, exosmosis, and osmosis, relation between osmotic pressure, Tauger pressure, wall pressure. Then few more terminologies here: diffusion pressure deficit, water potential, chemical potential. Two more definition you have for osmosis. Four I have already told you. All right. In the next video, we will do that. Thank you.